Hey everyone, welcome. So I am going to run through some challenges from a recent CTF from Hack the Box called Hack the Boo. As the name suggests, it was around Halloween, so it's got a Halloween-y theme to it. Some of the challenges were actually pretty fun to do. I enjoy doing some of those challenges, and they were primarily aimed at kind of beginner level. So yeah, like I'm no good at CTFs, so it was great to do some challenges that I could actually do and accomplish. And yeah, that's basically how you learn. You just got to keep at it, learn the kind of tricks of the trade. Sometimes CTFs are knowing the right tools to use or the right kind of things to try and challenge, which is why sometimes the harder challenges are a bit more difficult. So, jumping in, there were kind of 5 different categories. There was crypto. I'm not going to do the crypto because that was a bit challenging and might take a while, and it's a lot of maths and that. It's not that exciting. Apologies if you're a crypto fan or a maths fan. Then there was the forensics. Porn, where you actually have to own the service, whatever, bypass the service. Forensics, kind of investigation type things, IR. Those are the kind of things you would do if there was an incident and you need to go see what the attacker did and all that kind of stuff. Porn is actually owning a system. And then reversing is taking an application and trying to reverse it to get the flag. And then lastly, web. Web is just web applications and owning those web applications and getting those web applications, the flag from that. So, what I'm going to start off with is some of the web ones actually. So these were pretty cool. I am going to have a problem. This is weird. Let me see if I can check the files. This could be very quick. I hope it's not done what I think it's done. I copied the files from another system, so I'm hoping. That's weird. All the web ones are kind of there. That is. I got to see what's going on. So unfortunately, I copied them from a box that I was using to actually do the CTF. I have a different VM and I copied it across fine, but now it seems to have disappeared, which is kind of weird. I don't understand why. So bear with me 1 second while I just try to spin it up and get those files across. It's kind of weird. I've not seen that before. Normally if you just copy it across, it's fine. Just don't understand what's going on. So apologies for that. I'll just go back to the starting screen and then we'll come back to it. So apologies about that. Something weird happens when you copy VM to VM. So we've now got that fixed. I'm just going to quickly shut down my other VM so we don't have resource issues. Cool. All right, so we should be able to do it now. Yeah, apologies about that. But yeah, as I was saying, we have the web ones and then we have a bunch of crypto ones. I'm not going to do the crypto ones. That was a bit difficult. There's forensics and then there's also porn ones. So let's start off with the web ones. I'm just trying to remember which was which. Okay, I think this was the curse party. No, the web evaluator deck. So what we can do is look at that. So this is, each one of these came with a Docker file. So it made it easy to see what was going on. So if you have a look, there's this flag.txt. This was obviously the test flag. And in the Docker file, that test flag gets put into /flag.txt. And then obviously, from this, we have to run the web application and then try again the flag.txt. So if we do a Docker build, there's a nice little utility file here that we can run. And it'll do all the stuff for us. So it will build it and all of that. So if we go into web, no, hack the Boo web, and then evaluation deck. All right. So if we build this, it should build that for us, and at the same time, we'll get Burp Suite up and running. Cool. It shouldn't take that long. So it's just installing an app. It's a Python app, a Python Flask app. So Flask is a Python web framework. Pretty popular, very lightweight. It's pretty cool. And then you can use templates behind the scenes as well. So there we go. That's the web app up and running. So if we now open a web browser, and we come to this. This is the app running on that. And we come here. We should now see that. There we go. Evaluation deck. Alright, so you gotta kind of click cards here and it will do things. Sorry, I don't know why my system is so slow, but yeah. So I guess it's trying to beat this, but that's not the important thing. So if we just click about, that's all great, but that's obviously not going to get the flag. Why is something weird going on with my system? What is going on? Alright, so come into Burp and let's actually see what's going on. So the nice thing is, let's go into the history here and actually see. So that's obviously hitting the page, loading the page, load this page, and has a bunch of HTML stuff, and then has JavaScript. Again, nothing interesting there. jQuery, there is this card UI, but this is all JavaScript, I guess, to do the card flipping and all of that. And then there's this UI, but again, yes, to do with the cards. So we have this post been done. And I guess the things that we could try do is let's try and see what happens if we tamper with this post. So current health is 100, attack power is 33, operators minus. So I guess taking 100, operator minus, and then 33, and you arrive at that. So we could potentially change our attack power. Let's see if we change it to like 1,000. What does it do? Okay, it gives us that. Let's try to change it to like an A's. Okay, so something went wrong. Didn't like that. Put it back at 100. Let's do A's again. Again, something went wrong. Let's do 1,000. So we know these have to be numeric, I guess. What about this operator? What if we do something there? Okay, so something went wrong. Okay, so nothing interesting yet. So on the face of it, we can't really find anything. But one of the nice things is we do have access to the source code. So yeah, it's a challenge, and here's all the JavaScript. So this here is actually starting up the app. This is all Flask-based stuff here. There's nothing exciting there. That's all stock standard Flask. There's this util that looks to JSON file the message. Again, nothing really interesting there. There's a main class, and this guest does the routing. So we got the different error pages and yeah, message type. Again, nothing too exciting there. You have the template. So this is the HTML. Having a look at this. Again, nothing that exciting. I mean, there doesn't look to be any input there. Static. It just looks to be all the CSS and that. So what's this blueprints? So this is where our post gets put into. Let's get health. We come back to it. There we go. API get health. There must be. Oh yeah, there. API. So API get health. So let's go through this. What's going on here? So it's expecting a JSON. If it's not, it returns a 400. Then it's getting the data from the request, which would be the JSON. And then it's going to need each of these fields, or passing them. So I guess nothing exciting there. And we look further down. So if they're not set, then all the fields are required. Okay, so we can't leave them empty or not set them. This bit here is the interesting bit. Now, if you see there's this compile. Now, compile is always kind of interesting because this is potential for remote code execution. And this looks to be doing some sort of function that takes in a string and then tries to generate a resulting source code, Python code. That is a dead giveaway for remote code execution. So it looks to compile this command and then actually execute it and store the result in this result. So what we can do is, if we open up Brave here, is if we actually go and look what this is doing. So Python compile. Hopefully this will. Yeah, so there we go. There's this Python compile, and it looks to take Python code from a source object and returns it. So there's some examples there. and your source, file name, code. So file name is where the code is to be read. Source is a normal string or byte string or AST object. So basically taking a string and then making it into a command, Python command, and running it. So we can see it's doing some type operator casting. So integer. So I'm assuming that if we try passing a non-int, this will fail. And that's kind of, I think, where we got the something went wrong before. Yeah, so we got something went wrong, which means we came in here, which means it failed. But we're not doing any sort of operator on this. Now, I'm gonna kind of skip ahead and show you what I did for the CTF. So what I did is, instead of trying to hash it this way and go back and forth, I created this simple script, right? And then I try to just put this code and see what it does. So in this case, I'm just going to make the operator what it was. Operate. And what was it? Minus. And it was 100. And what? Like, yeah. So 100 minus 10. So if we now run this, we have this Python test. So if we just do Python 3, no. Oh, why don't we probably do Python 4? Try to go ahead on time. There we go. All right, so what we did is run this. So results, something went wrong. I'm trying to see what's wrong with my code. Yeah, print compile code. So we're printing the compile code. Let's actually make it easier to see. Compile code. There we go. So yeah, that's weird. I don't know why that worked and got rid of the errors. But anyway, so we can see the string here, compile code, and this is the code compiled. So all this is doing, this is actually not compiling anything. It's just doing string format. So the F before a string in Python means you can format it and you can input these different placeholders. You could have achieved the same with like result equals and then encode plus int plus space blah blah blah. It's just a really neater way of writing Python and putting these things in there. So yeah, that's what the actual string comes out as. So in this case, result equals 100 minus 10, and then that gets compiled into this here, that executes that. This from this compile, so compile that string and then execute it, and we get 90. So what it's done is literally made result equals 100 minus 10. Okay. Now one of the things we can do, so we know it is potentially this operator bit that can be modified. So what if we change it to say something like print hello world. So something went wrong, and the reason being is we've got this beginning bit here. So we kind of need to finish this bit off, put in our command, and then end that. So what we can do is, we know it's 100. So we could even leave it as 100. And Python, Python doesn't work on things like semicolons at the end, where other languages such as Java does. So in Java world, semicolon delimits the end of that line, that statement. In Python, it's a new line. So what we need to do is do a new line, so it will become a new command, and then print hello world. So we're essentially moving it to the new line. So so it's still not executing. We're still getting this compile code, but we can see the new line there. So what's going on? Well, we have some garbage at the end. So what else we can do is put a hash there, and that just that's the comment tag. So I'll just comment the rest of the line out. So let's actually see what happens. And there we go. We've got it working. So we've actually got hello world showing up now. So that means this command's running. Now we have command here. So there's several ways that we could use this to get to the flag. One being like a reverse shell. But we know where the flag is because we can see the Docker image, and it's in /flag text. So we can just simply try to read that file. And that's what this line above here does. So we'll take this out and talk this through. So I'm basically ending off this sum here. Could just do what I did here, just do a new line. And then this is Python for opening this file for read. So we're opening in /flag.txt, read-only mode, so we don't need to write to it. And then we're overriding results with the contents of that file. So now, if we run this, okay, it's not going to do that because there's no /flag on the system. But we know there's like @c password on the system. So if we run this, there we go. We've got that. So now this is the command we basically need to pass into our running app. So if we take this, copy that, and yeah, so we want to replace operator with that. Make sure we put this as back at that, and we run that. We're still getting okay, so the reason being is it's the operator here. We've got these open quotes, so we have to just escape them with \, and that should then work. There we go. So now we've got this, so this is great. And if we change this to flag.txt, it should theoretically get the flag. And there we go, we've got the flag. So that's how you would solve this one. As I said, you could open like a reverse shell on that, but this is like a very simple way of just reading the file. You know where it is. So it saves the hassle. So that's that challenge. We can come on to another web challenge. There were some that I am not very good at, and this is a problem. With some of these, you need to know the underlying kind of caveats of the language, which I can go into in a bit when we come to it. So let's try web horror feeds, I think. I actually gotta kill this. Kill that. Come into web horror feeds and build this. So in this case, we have database. All right. So MariaDB is a MySQL derivative. The history is MySQL got bought by Oracle. Licensing has changed. It's it's pretty restrictive. So MariaDB is kind of more the open source flavor of MySQL. You can literally use the MySQL client to connect to a MariaDB database. So that's where that is. So given CTF challenges, and this is like the first one with a SQL, it's kind of pointing in towards the fact that it's a SQL injection vulnerability, but we don't know that for sure. So what we'll do is actually come off and try see what the app's all about. All right, so we have some user and password. I guess you got to register that and then log in, and then you get this. Nothing interesting there. Okay, so if you let's try to type in the user and password, and then log in as that user. Okay, log out. Let's try user and password again. Okay, so the user already exists. You can only have one, you can't override another, and you can register a user. So let's actually now go look at the source code. So we do have these. So this is good. We've got like the database structure here. As I said, it is a MySQL database. Run the path, so it's Python application, we Flask, and this one's a bit more in depth. So actually, one thing I forgot to do before we looked at that is let's actually go look and see what the different things are. So we got a login, you pass in the username and password. You have a cookie here. Now this is a Flask cookie, and a Flask cookie is almost looks like a JWT. So you've got base 64 encoding, you've got the 2 periods and all of that. So if we just decode this, you can even see, I'll have to send this to the decoder. Decode base 64. Okay, it's somewhat encrypted. And yeah, we can look at the format and all of that, but I don't think it's going to turn up anything that interesting. That's interesting. So nothing interesting there. What about this here? Anything interesting there? Nope. And final one. This one here. Decoder. Okay, nothing interesting. All right. So we have this login password. We have a dashboard. You log in, you get all of this. You also have this register username and password, and you get the different results. What happens when you register? And so there's a user that's been registered, and you log in. Okay. Now we have this flag.txt, and if we have a look, it copies the flag to / flag.txt, and nothing more interesting there. As I mentioned, we have this entry point, but one thing you do notice, there's this user called admin, and they identified by well, there's this hash password, so we're probably not going to be able to break this and guess the password. So that's not a way, but okay, that's interesting to know. There's a user called admin. Running this, nothing interesting there. We have the token. So as I said, like there's the token passed around, there's username, there's encryption, so HS256. So this looks like it's doing all the right things on the JWT, verifying it. I can't see any way around this, and it's using this as authenticated, so nothing exciting there. Main is so we know this Flask application, and it is doing all the routing. So nothing too exciting in that file. Database. Okay, so this is looking a bit more interesting. So that's querying the database. It's query DB, and it's passing in a username. So the chances of this being susceptible to SQL injection, I think, is pretty low, because you have this query and it's executing with arguments. So it does kind of parameterize queries before. So the whole point of around SQL injection is you can modify the query string itself. With things like this passing in arguments, you can't modify that string and essentially create a new SQL query from that. So in this case, this bit here, login, doesn't look like we have any sort of vulnerability in the login bit, but let's try it. So if we send this to repeater, we know we created the user and we created it with a password. So let's just make sure that works. Okay. Oh, sorry, that's register. We want to do login. There we go. Send to repeater. So if we change this user and then password, send that. Okay, so we know that works. So one way that you can test for SQL injection is just put in a single quote, because that breaks the query. Okay, so that hasn't resulted in any error. It's given us a 403, and coming to the main, I think 403, it looks like it's not buffed, so we haven't got any sort of 500 error or anything like that. There's this register user, again, does a query on the username, see if it exists, using this parameters thing. Great. There is this though, and this is interesting. So if you have a look, we're not actually passing any arguments to the query DB. So the arguments come in here and then get passed into this execute command. We're actually just passing the full string. So this F is formatting it. So this is now looking like there's a potential for SQL injection, and we can actually test this. So if we just spin up a quick Python shell. So this is the lovely thing about Python. You can just spin these up and then you can run it. So let's just call this string equals that. We're gonna so let's do username name equals test. We're gonna do it test. Password equals password, and then results or output equals that. Hashed. And then if we just do print output. Okay, so there we go. Now, what happens if we insert quote, so something like that? I think we might need to do that and then print that again. So we're getting double quotes here. So this is now potentially leading to SQL injection. So what we can do is we can try look at adding a user, but if you have a look and you remember, as part of the startup, it creates the user admin. So there's already a user called admin. So if we try to create another user called admin, we would get a error. And this is also because the username on this database is unique. So we can't have duplicate entries on the username. So kind of like where do we go from here? So we know we can create a user. We know it potentially has SQL injection. We know we need to get the user admin, but we still don't even know how we're going to get the flag. So let's just park the SQL injection for now. And there's this routes. So we see this dashboard, all that stuff. Great. We log in, gets the login name, checks all the auth. Awesome. There's the register. Okay, great. If you have a look, there's this flag. And I get this flag from a configuration called flag. So, if we come to configuration, that flag is the value of that file that we are looking for. And current users auth and flag equals passing that on. So it's going into this render template. So if we go into this render template, what does this look like? That's part of the templating. So if we come to the templates, let's have a look and see what this looks like. So we have all this, blah, blah, blah. We want the flag. Flag, yeah. Alright, so, okay. So if you have a look, we have admin, and then we also have this flag bit. So here's the flag being set. And yeah, if user equals admin. So it's looking for the user, and then it'll put this in. So this is part of the templating engine. So what we have to do is try to get the user to be admin, and then we can get this bit of the template to be rendered, and within that it will put in this flag variable, which is then obtained, set by this route, and that's obtained from reading that flag file. So basically, get login as admin, and then we can get to the flag. Now, as I mentioned, we can't create a user admin, because if we try to do that, we'll get duplicate user. We don't know the admin's password. We, as far as can tell, is the password validation, all that's pretty accurate and good. So we have to somehow tamper and get ourselves to that admin user. We have SQL injection here. So one of the things we could look to do is maybe delete that admin user and insert ourselves as a user. But this is, I'm cheating a bit here because I'm just conscious of time. I tried to do this and I was like pulling my hair out and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. There is a caveat here. So if you have a look at this entry point, there are actually specific privileges on the user for this database. So we only have the ability to do select, insert, and update. So we can't delete that admin user and insert ourselves. But what we do have is, if we actually come back to the config itself, this database here, we have the hash value and we have a username that we input. And username, we can't set to admin. We know that. But we can control the hash value, because that's the user that we register. We register with a username and we register with password. So if we can get the hash value to become the password for admin, then we should be able to log in as admin. So so now we need to work that out, what it looks like as a query. So we can insert into username equals blah. So what I'm going to do is actually copy this. This is normally what I do when I try to do SQL injection. I like trying to write the SQL command itself so you can actually see what's going on. So we know that's what this is, and we know if we put in test, and let's just call hash password, that it will work it out for itself. So we can control the task part, the username part. We can't really control the hash part because that's a cryptographic hash. So anything that we put in, it's just going to be cryptographically hashed, and it's not going to result in a SQL injection. So the only thing we can really play with is this username. Now we have an insert here, so what we can do is close that out. We know there are two values, and we can call it whatever. If we really wanted to, we can put in the password here, or just leave it empty. I think it needs a password. So in this case, we're just going to call it password, end that off, and now we need to add an additional bit to update the admin password. So what we can do is run update users set set password equals to I gotta wait. I'm trying to remember how I did this. There's with the hash value. Trying to remember, yeah. Update user set. So we need to set the password. Sorry, not password. Hashed. This is hashed. Equals sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. I did do it. I was just not thinking clearly. I'm trying to think how we can parse in that hash value, because we don't have control of the hash value. That hashed equals to all right, let's just call it password here, so we'll actually see what happens. Update user set. So we also need to put where username equals admin, and close that. And that's so the dash means we just segmenting that off. So we now enter what else we need to do. Running Docker, so this is good. I'm going to attach a shell, just so we can get into the thing. So MySQL is using the MySQL client. So if we show databases, and let's use Aura feeds. Show tables to show all the tables. Okay, so we're going to select star from users. Okay. I remember. Remember how I did it. I really can't. Can't remember. but let's just try run this. So really, our injection is going to be that. We copy this and we come to the register user, API register, and we just got to do escapes here. So escape that, escape that, escape that. So if we send that, okay. So this is one thing I was running, like it commands out of sync, and when I read it, it was didn't make sense to me, but it's because of the commits. Now with MySQL, there's a thing called auto commit. So the way databases work is they use transactions, so you can perform a bunch of queries, mainly update stuff, and you need to commit those changes. It's a way of rolling back if something goes wrong. Now, MySQL typically has this thing called auto commit, which means it will automatically do that without you having to worry about that. Now, in SQL, there's a commit statement. So in this case, there's commit. So this is going to do the inserting, and then we also want to do a commit on the update. So ignore that because something else might be going on. So we now see that this is in there, which is great. But if we actually come in and try login with username, test, and password, so in this case, just for this username, test, and password, it's not going to work because the password's not right. So we need to somehow be able to set admin password to be this kind of password over here. So, how do we do that? See, if this was, if we had a delete statement, it would have been easy because then all we would have done is just deleted this entry and then inserted our own. But we can't do a delete because that user doesn't have that privilege to do so. So, it was easy when I did it. I can't believe why I can't remember how I did it. Because the other thing is, if we come back to the code itself, the format. So we can't actually wrap this hash bit in here, because that's doing the formatting. Insert into user's username and password. Now, just trying to remember how I did it. So what we can do, like, I'm drawing a blank here. So I'm already forgot how I did it. Because even if we change like update and we update the username to be like ID or whatever, we still have that issue of duplicate usernames. So if we basically create this user, update and set okay, so let's just try empty password because maybe that might work. So let's try that. Tester. Let's just call it test 2. All right. So if we now that didn't work. So weird. But yeah, that's basically how it works. I just trying to. I can't remember how I did it with the update. There's definitely a way you can do it with the update. I really wish I took notes. So frustrating. It had something to do with the hash value that you passed in, that you could somehow get it in there. Oh wait, I'm being silly. Now I remember. So if we come back here, sorry, I am being rather silly. So we know that there's going to be this additional bit here. So what we can do, actually, sorry, I lie, where username equals. I think yeah, okay, now I remember. What we can do, yes, now I remember. So, we can't have duplicate names, and we know we need to get the username admin. And we know that admin exists, right? So what we can do is update users, set username equals to blah, where username equals admin. So now what we're going to do is actually just change the username here. So there will be no user called admin in this, and then we can simply create our own user called admin. So if we come back here and we just update that. So set username equals to blah, where user equals admin. So if we run this, test. Okay, what? Duplicate. There we go. And we come back to this now. We should see the first entry being blah. Okay, so we're still not getting that right. Update users, set username equals to blah, where username equals that. I don't understand why that's not working. Yeah, this is the thing I had problems with this and the kind of duplicate thing. But yeah, that's basically how I did it. Is just change the username. But for some reason, it's not doing that. Update users, set username. I just want to check this here. This is right. Oh, my query is wrong. That's why. I had an extra bracket in there. So if we now do commit. This should hopefully work. If I'm right, please work. There we go. Yes, I did a silly mistake. So we've now changed the username. There's no user called admin. So if we come back to this app, we can go and register a user called admin and go password 12. Register that. There's password. User registered. Now we log in and we should get the flag on the dashboard if I'm right. Wait, what is this? Admin password. Login. Alright, there we go. So there, yeah. So sorry about that. It took me a little bit to get around that, but yeah. So that was the second web challenge. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do the. I'll try to see if I got time to do this one here, the forensics one. Let's see if I can do it quickly because it's already been an hour. So let's see if we can do it quickly. So that is the wrong spooky. Wrong spooky season. So there's this PCAP. So if we open up with Wireshark, we can see this just a standard packet capture, and then we also see there's this HTTP stream, and there's all of these kind of sites that it hits. So that's all interesting. That's all well and great. But one of the things I did is like, how do you capture all of these and actually export them as HTML elements? And the way I did it initially is I actually went through. So you follow the TCP stream and I copy and paste this. There's actually an easy way in Wireshark to do that. So if you go File, and then you can go Export Objects, and then HTTP. And then here you can actually see all the objects, so you can save them, save as well. I'm just going to create a new folder just so you can see what it looks like as opposed to app. I'll just call it app. So we'll just put it in here and open and save all. So there we go. So they're all there. So we can now see all of these in here. And there's all the files, which is great. And we can see there's this capture.html. I think is it in? No. It's in, ignore that. Let's get rid of these. I'm just gonna clear all of these out. Right, so we have this file. So this home here is a application. I think if we can rename it to home.html, we should be able to open this with a web browser. App home.html. So we now get this page here. The links in that are a bit messed up because of the paths and all that. I think what it did is open this one. Here's a better one here, so we can actually see there's like this get spooky, and there's different pages here, which is all good. So, but it doesn't help. Where is the actual flag in all of this? So if we actually come here and we see, if we try search for flag, there's no flag there. So there's some JavaScript. Anything interesting in there? No. Style, I don't think there's anything interesting in there. And then there's all these different flags here, which is not that interesting. Just gonna close that out. So that's pretty uneventful. There's nothing that interesting. So I gotta remember how I found the flag. There's those assets. So one other thing we do know is the format. So the format is HTB. So we can also come to Wireshark and see if that was in any of these. So get rid of this. And we can, I think, find packets. So we want to find a string and we want to find HTB. And we find that. So there's none. So yeah, we are not finding that. Just trying to remember how I got this. sign up. There's projects, there's benefits. Script. Script doesn't look interesting. Styles. And then there's all these images. There's that image, that image, that image. And nothing there that has the flag. Email address. So this is just a standard stock standard kind of HTML form. We did see these other things here. So let's get rid of that. We did see. So one thing you do notice is this SOCAT. So in here we've got this. So you notice it's pulled these out, these JavaScript. So there's JSP, and there's a command called ID and a command called whoama. So it's put in this JSP file, and it's basically running commands here. And yeah, basically the way I think we had to do it, just figure out that SOCAT. Yeah, I can remember. Yeah, so there was a SOCAT. So if you find that again, was it JSP? There was a TCP HTTP stream. JSP. Upload. So that was all of that. Fine, next. So we can see it's doing these request.get. So what we can do is take this and come to CyberChef. And I'm just going to URL decode this. URL. So it's getting a command, executing it, all of that. So great. Yeah. So it's getting this command, but the other thing is, I think we need to find JSP. So it's doing on port 8080. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of that. So it's running this command thing. So if I think we go TCP dot ports equals 8080. We now have all of these kind of things here. So let's follow that. Let's store all the HTML, but we also have, I think, these non-TCP things. So yeah, we go. So we have a bunch of other commands here. Oh my word. I vaguely remember this, where you what it was is it was a SOCAT command running, and I think you had to find the right port that it went to, and then you could work out from there what basically get the traffic to that port. Is there no ports? Print line input command. Trying to remember this again. It's gonna annoy me. Web apps, root. So forget that. Maybe if we just search for the command. So find packets. So we want to find that case sensitive. Find. Maybe it's. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure. String. Gosh. There's a web app. Oh, this is gonna annoy at me. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, it's been a long day. But basically, yeah, what's happened? Yeah, is there's this command that gets run, JSP, SOCAT, and then you find where that SOCAT has been run, and then you can actually find the command that was run, and then that way you can get the flag. I'm just frustrated with myself because I can't remember. It actually wasn't too difficult. I found it fairly easily. I can't do it tonight for some reason or other. I am just drawing a complete and utter blank, which is rather annoying. I don't know why, but yeah. Hopefully this has been useful. Apologies about this one. If you are interested, there are several write-ups. Some great write-ups out there. I'm pretty sure if you search for Hack the Boo CTF write-ups, you'll find a whole bunch of them. And yeah, a lot of them are pretty good. You'll more than likely find the write-up for this one. I really wish I actually did some write-ups so I could actually remember what the heck I did. But yeah, at least the other two solved. Again, apologies about that. I don't know why I am drawing a blank here. I'm not thinking clearly tonight. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be streaming next. But if you have any ideas and thoughts, please let me know. I'd love to have them. And yeah, if you got anything, just give me a shout. Be really interested to see what you would like to see and do. And yeah, until the next one, have a good one. Bye.
Swear I won't forget this, why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up, I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean filled up with emotion. Anger ain't a potion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, reopen, the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go.